Good morning, everybody. So remember on the 27th, it's a Thursday and Friday. I'm thinking like, oh, I have no sign I'm gonna get my period and all that stuff, right? So I did have a few bouts of like feeling a little bit irritable throughout the month. Definitely the biggest things was the fatigue. Fatigue was the biggest thing this month. And the hunger. Oh my God, the hunger was insane towards the end. So I'm still healing, obviously, my reproductive system, obviously. Because nobody, see, I look at like PMS, PMDD, all that stuff is the body still in flux, and it could be from the environment, but at some point you got to adapt to your environment. But still, I mean, it's not the food supply because food is food, but there's still stuff that needs, to happen in my body for me to think that menses is going to disappear or we trigger amenorrhea. Because if amenorrhea happens in the beginning, then amenorrhea can happen once the body is 100% well balanced. That's when you follow the same pattern that we've been following. In one context, amenorrhea is appropriate because it's a child. A child is not going to be dropping seeds or eggs at 3 or 4 years old. So that's amenorrhea, okay? At some point when the body senses that it senses extinction, it's going to want to mitigate extinction, and that's when menses happens. So it's harder to trigger amenorrhea in the right context of being very, very healthy. It's easy to trigger amenorrhea, which wouldn't really technically be amenorrhea if you are anorexic, but when the body is starved itself so much nutrition and fat, yes, then some women will see then hardly any period at all because they're like vegans and vegetarians, so they're starving themselves. They're going to totally take down their body fat count to almost nothing, and then they're not, their body isn't able to produce children. Okay, so there's a few different contexts of why amenorrhea or why a period would stop. Also to menopause, but that's not really amenorrhea. That's when the body says, okay, you are beyond, there's something going on in your reproductive system where you're still alive. Yes, you're on a death trajectory, but you cannot hold a baby for whatever reason. Okay. And that also happens in people in their 40s when they do have some kind of negative mutation to their uterus or their reproductive system, or they have their tubes tied, or there are a lot of different reasons of why it is a person would be menopausal, early or even later. Okay. So, but I'll tell you what, I thought I was going to get it on Saturday, but I'm like, no. So I felt a weird feeling like, okay, no. And then it was Sunday. It just hit me. And it's so weird because it's like, I thought I feel that like I was going to get it, but I'm like, no. And then, yeah. And so it's just so weird. But, cycle back a couple of years ago, I would know 2 weeks before, and I would be just in such turmoil like 2 weeks before. But looking hindsight now, I think the only thing that I did was take a few naps. I wasn't really, really hungry, wasn't totally irritable, though I did, I do sometimes get a little bit sharp occasionally. So, but that's better because it's still bringing to surface the needed hormones to draw boundaries where maybe I would have been more patient. But sometimes, your patience, you shouldn't have patience with certain people because they keep trying you. Okay, at some point you're going to have to, do what you got to do. So sometimes having those hormones to surface does give you that extra added, okay, I'm not going to, because why keep recycling with the same people who don't learn anything, right? So anyways, so yeah, and it's been a pretty interesting menses, that to say the least. And I'm thinking at some point, because some people have like where their menses is great and they have no issue. And then others, oh my God, like I could see when someone goes through like endometriosis or some kind of like major issue, that when you have really hard periods, holy crap. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So so I know there's something going on, with my reproductive system and the healing process. So I'm just gonna go with it. But it's nice to be surprised, I guess, because really I was thinking like, oh, am I not gonna get it? Because I'm like, because I'm thinking like, and this is all because I'm doing these live journals because we're trying to obviously give our experiences on the J Juice. I'm obviously the like the most experienced person on it, been on it the longest. So it's like, you know, I have to journalize everything that goes on, and almost every single feeling, because really, you know, what I'm trying to prove is, yeah, if at some point we're not going to want to reproduce, or I don't want to reproduce, but at some point the body is going to be then, the body, mind, and spirit will be 100% aligned. And that's really the whole point of it, is to align the body, mind, and spirit. Right now we have people who are only aligning their body or their mind, but not their body and their mind that are trying to align, but their spirit and their mind, they're trying to align, but their body is out of whack. That's what I see in everybody. Oh yeah, I want to live, I want to live, I want to live. However, I'm gonna do everything I can to basically kill myself, or do everything I can to get on that trajectory. Because it's like, why do these things that you know the outcome is going to be death? And this is the thing about hypocrisy, because we do live in a world of hypocrisy. If you believe in death, then if you believe in death and then you believe in taking supplements and you're trying to change your diet and you say you want to live and you're going to the doctor, then you don't believe in living, you believe in death. And so automatically the belief systems that people should die makes everybody out there, anybody out there that believes that you should die, whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing as far as your health and your wellness and wanting to live, makes you hypocritical, because you have an imbalance in your body, mind, and spirit. Okay. And so what I'm actively doing right now as we speak is aligning my body, mind, and spirit. And it's going to take time. I mean, it took 3 years to reverse my PMDD. It took 3 years to grow my hair out beautifully, and there's no split ends. I don't have to get my hair cut like I used to all the time, because every year I'd have to get it cut because I see all these split ends, and I have no split ends in the ends of my hair. It took me 3 years to get my skin perfect. It took me 3 years to get the added extra weight off. It took me 3 years to get the mental clarity that I've been looking for. It took me 3 years to get to this next level of human evolution, I guess. It took me 3 years to really get to this point of understanding all these different theories that I have, and then actually substantiate them. Okay. And so then I realized that, you know, when you do have war, like when you are aging, that's like war. That's war in your body. And then that translates out in our society. Okay. So, you know, where does peace come from? Peace comes from when you're dead, and peace comes from when you actually live. I have peace in my life amidst all these wars around me. I still got a war in my uterus right now, trying to figure out whether or not I should reproduce. But I'm not actually trying to go and trying to have a baby. Yes, my body right now is saying, okay, it needs to reproduce. So I'm still in the process of aligning my body, mind, and spirit. Okay, I'm not there yet. And I will continue to strive to align my body, mind, and spirit. Because I saw my husband, who's still kind of like not buying into the whole living indefinitely thing, because he thinks it's kind of crazy, but he understands where I'm coming from, but he still thinks it's kind of crazy. But I'm like, hey, if if it wasn't for car accidents and freak accidents, what would you die from if you didn't die from cancer, disease, and chronic illness and aging? What is aging? It's cell degradation. It's malabsorption. It's the body's inability to put aside mineral reserves to fix the weaknesses as you change environments and go into upsets of homeostasis. Okay? You know, I don't drink alcohol anymore because I choose not to. Now, could I drink alcohol now if I wanted to? Yeah, but I really don't want to feel like trying to balance my body out by getting that excess alcohol out that would feed the yeast, because that's what alcohol does. It feeds the yeast. And what is yeast? It turns into candida when it gets overfed. And then what does that candida do? It punches holes in your gut. And then guess what that's called? Malabsorption, or leaky gut. And then what happens is then you won't have the ability to absorb the nutrients that you're taking in. So when someone goes, oh yeah, and they're passing on these memes that says, oh yeah, a carrot has this many calories and this many, nutrients, and a celery has this many calories and this many nutrients and this. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Live on carrots and celery your whole life? You think carrots and celery are gonna fix your issues? When you look at a piece of meat, and then you look at the 4 food groups, okay, from the government, the 4 food groups, or maybe there's 5, but let's see. Meat, fruits and vegetables, milk, meat, fruits and vegetables, or meat, fruits and vegetables, milk, and carbs. Okay, the 4 food groups, those cover fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. If somebody can't eat something, like, oh, I can't eat this food, I can't eat that food, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, It's because you have malabsorption malfunctions. You think that piece of carrot or that celery or that grapefruit or that piece of meat is going to help you when you have malabsorption? So those that just eat meat but they haven't fixed the issues and they're having a lot of acid reflux and a lot of acid imbalances, it's because you haven't offset it with the right minerals and the nutrients to fix the 11 different systems that actually speak to each other correctly, so you can process all that food, so you don't have all this lactic acidosis. That's some of the, I mean, that's why people say, oh, I can't eat meat because it's so acidic, and why I have to stick to an alkaline diet and stick with only lemons and alkaline water, Kangen water set at 10 and all this other stuff, which is really antibiotic. Why is it antibiotic? Because it's a high negative charge. It kills everything in its path. So you're going from a high acidic diet to meat and all of this other stuff, okay, which is only high acidic because your body can't seem to process and let go of the excess. So of course it's high acid for you because you have malfunctions. But you think that that celery and that carrot and that lettuce and that piece of cabbage is going to help you? No, you actually are going to starve yourself. And so all these health influencers out there haven't even considered, hey, what about reversing the aging process? Nobody wants to consider it. No, but they like to go and itemize and compartmentalize nutrients out of a vegetable or of a fruit or of a meat or of a potato or something. And they think that that's being healthy. Oh yeah, so anorexia, starvation mode is healthy. Oh yeah, and lifting weights. It's right. It's right. Lifting weights. Let's go and lift weights and run a bunch of miles so we can show our muscles to show that we look healthy. I'm telling you, you're going to see, once you actually understand the J juice, you're going to see the hypocrisy. And so while I'm still working on my alignment of body, mind, and spirit, and where I feel that I'm out of whack is the fact that I still get my period every month. Well, I may have my period forever. I don't know. So I may be always working to be completely aligned, but at least even if 90% of my life is aligned with the body, mind, and spirit, I can take that. Given I do live in a world full of people, I live in a world where there's, yes, I'm adapting, but I'm constantly going from one environment to another. And maybe if I was in like the Swiss Alps, away from other humans, except for other humans that are like me, and not dealing with other people who have so much war going on, maybe, just maybe, I might have a society where there is no reproduction, where no one drops seeds, and there's no dying. But maybe the reason why I still have my period, given that I'm still, that I feel very well balanced when you think about it, as far as watching all my other issues fall away, it's because I do live in a world that is very chaotic. Chaotic people, chaotic. It's what it is. What I see in the future is that, yeah, we do stop reproducing, we do stop dying. Once that happens, there's peace. Once that happens, there's actual peace. But right now, humans have two choices for peace. Peace when they're dead or peace when they're alive. And you can still have peace amidst all of this chaos. But some people don't think that, and they go and absorb all that crappy energy around them. And then they justify it by going, oh yeah, the world sucks. But then you are contributing to the world that sucks. Or you get lost in your alcohol. It's easier to drink and easier to just forget your problems, that you have all these issues, than to actually deal with them. Okay? And so, yeah, so I'm constantly striving for balance. Even if I'm only 90% there, I'm constantly striving for balance. And, it's not easy in this world where everyone's saying, oh my God, the salt's going to kill you, or, oh my God, how can you say that you can live indefinitely? That just sounds so crazy. Well, there's a lot of things out there that actually are worth something that does sound crazy in the beginning. But when you actually take the time to read the information, when you take the time to understand the science behind the J juice, it doesn't sound crazy. But not everybody wants to sit down and read. Now, I know people say, like, oh, people should read books. And someone said on my Facebook that I was like, oh my God, kinder and gentler people read books. I'm like, no, that's not true. People who actually read the internet for understanding the human body and understanding why humanity does what it does, as well as read books, are kinder, gentler people. When you ask questions, do you know why I know as much as I know? It's because I ask questions. I'm the nosiest MFer you would ever can figure out. when my husband is totally the opposite. He doesn't ask anybody questions. He's like, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. Why? I mean, don't you want to learn about the people that you're around? He's like, no, it's none of my business. So he was taught in his world, don't ask questions, don't pry in people's lives, which I understand. You don't want to cross too many boundaries. There's a way to ask questions without crossing boundaries. But hey, you ask the question, someone say, no, I won't answer it, or yes, I will answer it. But at least you ask the question. Was it better to ask for forgiveness than ask permission, type of thing, right? But no, the way to learn in this society is to ask questions. If you've been taught not to ask questions, then you're not going to learn anything. Do you know I ask Google so many freaking questions? But that's how I know shit, because I ask questions. I ask questions ever since I was a kid. But if you don't ask the question, how are you going to know? Okay? And so that's why anybody can learn this. Once you figure out how to pose a question, then that's how you get the answer. It's not always the answer that you want, but at least it's the answer. Okay? And so this whole protocol came from me just more than just curious, wanting to reverse all of my issues. And one of the biggest things was the reproductive system. One of the biggest things. And when you have a war in your body, the body is going to want to reproduce. So you can look at our society and look at the porn industry and look at all of the sexual predators and the sexual offenders and the different urges and people who are like in sex and love anonymous and all that. You see that there's chaos going on inside of a body, okay? Major chaos when we have kids that are reproducing at such a young age. And, you know, I mean, when we do have all these different focuses on this stuff at an early age, there's nothing wrong with the focus, because it is what it is and we can't get away from it because it is politically charged. I'm not even going to mention that politics, but I'm sure you might figure it out. So I'm not even going to say it. But that is a sign of the war within our bodies, is the fact that we are focusing on reproduction at earlier and earlier age, regardless if that's your intention. See, reproduction is the body wanting to drop seeds and getting them fertilized, regardless of whatever it is that you subscribe to, okay? So if you even feel in any way where you need to go and fertilize or do anything of that nature, because that's what reproduction is to keep the human species forward, we have made it into entertainment, which is great, fine. We're very creative people. But the biological standpoint of war comes from dying and reproducing. War comes from reproduction and comes from death, because those two are hand in hand. Until we can actually control death and control reproduction in such a way where, you know, people understand it is a choice, it's not something that has to be done, but people don't choose to die. They just don't know any other way to live. Okay? My husband was saying, well, people are born dead. I'm like, not born dead. He's like, well, when you're born, you're dying. I'm like, no, you're not. When you're born, you're developing. You reach a point of maturity, and then when people start seeing cancer, disease, and chronic illness happens because their body is not getting what it needs, and there's malabsorption, and so it goes on to the decay, the degradation process, okay? And right now, we don't even have a time in between where you have a balance of life, because as soon as you are born, people are dealing with their cancer, their disease, or chronic illness, because they haven't resolved the issues from the past. And so, yeah, in a lot of ways, he is correct that when you're born, you're dying because people haven't dealt with their stuff. But our society has given modern medicine and other means to adapt. And we have so many different jobs and ways to make money that you don't have to be, you know, 100 or 5 foot 9, 10, 11, 100 and 200 pounds and throwing steel. No, you can sit behind a computer and be completely incapacitated and still be able to make some money. Okay, so we are able to cater to all the different levels of mobility and cognitive ability in our society. However, if we want to have peace in our society, we really have to start controlling the death process and controlling the reproductive process, which is totally out of control. And so, yeah, you're going to see a lot more glitches in the children as well as adults, because guess who are where messed up adults come from? It comes from messed up children. Okay, these adults that have mental issues and criminal issues and all these different issues didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened at birth. It happened through their childhood. And we were given the gift of life to try to correct that. Some of you have no intention to correct anything because you see nothing wrong with you. Okay, fine. You know, our government gives people the freedom to do whatever they want within reason, within the lines of the law, that isn't going to hurt some other people. So if you choose to drink yourself to death, that is your choice. But as soon as you get behind the wheel of drinking and smoking is when the government comes in and intercepts, says, okay, we're fine with you drinking, but you can't get behind the wheel and affect somebody else with your bad habits. Okay? That's when the government steps in. When we know that weak people spread disease, and we know when weak people spread disease, they are communicable and then causes people who are very weak to pass away because they can't handle those many antibodies. That's when they say, okay, we're going to step in and say, now we have mandatory vaccines if there is an issue that is that dire against the human race as far as a virus. Okay? And, you know, the flu season's already here. People are getting their flu shots, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're already a weak body, no matter what, whether you get exposed to the flu in the environment, and it comes from different parts of the world. It comes from animals, okay? You know, tuberculosis is also in deer that have been infected by other deer, okay? It's like when livestock gets transported from one region to another, and then a human picks up on it, and then it gets transported, you know, it's all over. I mean, bacteria and all these different types of parasites and viruses spread through each human. And so, you know, so the government knows what causes pandemics. The government knows that there are people who don't give a crap about people around them, and they will get behind the wheel and drive, okay, and potentially kill somebody. So the government says, okay, it's fine, you want to kill yourself with alcohol, but we don't want you to kill yourself and other people with your communicable disease. That's where they draw the line. So you get a lot of freedom, at least in the West. At least in the West. Hey, Gail. Okay? But you do, I mean, if you're making money and you can afford your alcohol and afford all your drugs, and the drugs are legal, but even then, you know, even if they're illegal drugs, they're still giving you IV, they're still giving you free injection or free, what is it, those free shots that are clean, and letting you know that there's like there's like, you know, fentanyl that's looks like Xanax or something. I mean, the government lets you know what kind of crap is out in the street for those that choose to be drug addicts, that choose to be alcoholics. Okay, when you go to like a resort over in the Bahamas, not the Bahamas, like in that one place where they're putting some kind of alcohol or some kind of additive in the alcohol that's causing people to go into cardiac arrest or other stuff. Okay, so our government lets us know that, hey, if you want to live, try not to do this. But if you don't want to live, that's fine. Do what you got to do. Take your, you know, mess with your own life, but don't mess with other people's lives while you're messing with your own life. Okay? So, you know, but I mean, here's the thing. The government can't control it all. Obviously, they couldn't control it back in Prohibition when people wanted to die, wanted to leave with a bang and get drunk. But they saw then the fall of society going on when they were seeing the breadwinners in the family drunk in the street, can't even get up to go to their job. Okay? So the reason why government's here is to kind of help people transition and find a way to adapt. Yes, the Dominican Republic. Find a way to adapt to their choices and help them adapt, because they can't legislate morals on people. Okay? But here's the thing. If you so want to be healthy, then you have to think about then adopting the thought process that maybe you can be a person living indefinitely. Indefinite life is not out of the question, but all the factors have to be there for you to get to that point. And you have to work for it. You can't just be given, you just can't drink from the fountain of youth, and all of a sudden now you're immortal. And it's not even immortal now that you have to go through a process. Your body has to go through an upset of homeostasis. You've been going through an upset of homeostasis for the last freaking 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Right now I have a lady that's 72 years old doing the J juice, going through her levels of stages of healing. And it ain't fun. When you have 70 years of major issues, you're going to have a few 5 or 6 or 10 years. But you think about what the potential of how long you could live, that's a drop in the bucket. Just like humanity is a drop in the bucket on Earth. Your healing process, given that our lifespan is about 100 years or so, the healing process really is a drop in the bucket compared to the potential of how many more years you can double and triple and quadruple. 300 or 400 years doesn't seem out of the question. Okay, so even with the midst of all the Monsanto is not the problem. 5G is not the problem. The chemtrails are not the problem. Okay? Anything that people are demonizing, fluoride and mercury and vaccines and all of that, those are not the problem. Okay? There's always going to be fluctuations in the environment. Humans have been around for 40, 50, 60,000 years. We have been able to adapt to the fluctuations of the environment, from, yes, pollution in China to pollution in the Roman Empire, way back when the Roman Empire was like way huge, to volcanoes that would spew all of their ash and the pyroclastic cloud and all of that stuff that happens when volcanoes do what they do. When Chernobyl did what it did, okay, nature does come back. Humans do adapt and they do evolve. And then guess what? We have a leg up now in this generation. Now we have the ability to make jars. We have the ability to go mine for pink Himalayan salt in the pink Himalayas, in the Himalayan mountains. We have access to relatively clean water. And we have access to cabbage and kale. And then guess what? All we got to do is get access to a blender, blend it all up, leave it out, let bacteria grow to then have a byproduct of lactic acid, which helps break down the food in your body, okay, and it breaks down the nutrients in the cabbage and kale, and you get the trace minerals, and then guess what? Your body absorbs that. It doesn't have to work very hard. But those of you who are into compartmentalizing your vegetables and your fruits and then saying on Facebook, oh, guess how many calories are in a carrot? Oh, guess how many nutrients are in a grapefruit? Oh, guess what this lemon does? It keeps you alkaline. It's acid. Okay, let me just put it plain. Freaking lemons are acid. Anything high citrus it's like acid. It eats away at metal. It takes off rust off of chrome. You really want to be drinking lemon water? Oh, but people do. Okay. Oh, and if you're heavy metal toxicity, guess what these naturopathics are prescribing to their patients? Zeolite, aluminum silicate, or bentonite clay, another form of aluminum silicate. So for your mineral imbalances, you're going to take a lot more minerals and an imbalanced form of minerals to then go and apply to the body. Oh, and another one. Oh yeah, for someone who is sick or has joint issues and all that, oh, they prescribe yoga and massive amounts of stretching and walking and running. I mean, these are the things in our society that our health and wellness industry is prescribing people, and guess what it's doing? It's actually accelerating the death process. Look at those that are doing the exercise accountability type of stuff, where they're having a coach, and this coach is getting them up in the morning and doing all these exercises, and these other workout, weightlifters and workout artists are trying to show off their muscles. But guess what? It is causing more damage to the muscles, more strain on the body and the bones. And then guess what? When you have malabsorption, guess what happens? The body steals from Peter to pay Paul. What does that mean? It leaches the minerals out of your bones to make sure that your brain, your heart, and your lungs, and your liver, and your kidneys are functioning. Okay? Because guess what the most priority to the body is? It is your vital organs. And this is why you see the aging process happen in our societies, because the body knows it needs to keep the vital organs going at the detriment of your hair, skin, and nails, your integumentary system, your bones. And that's why osteoporosis is so prevalent in the population for women, and then also men too down the road. You see Arnold Schwarzenegger shrinking. Okay. So, there's a lot of hypocrisy. And one of the biggest hypocrisies is saying, oh yeah, I believe in life and health and wellness, and I believe in medical care and prolonging people's lives, but God forbid should I even consider that maybe we can live indefinitely. That's how hypocritical our society is that, oh yeah, I want to live, but I don't want to live, but I don't want to live that long. That's bullshit. That's such bullshit. It's such bullshit. I can't even express how much bullshit that is. And so it's like, yeah, I don't even want to hear it when it says, oh yeah, I'm a health coach. I'm a this coach. Oh yeah, I believe that people should live. I'm a pro-life person. That's my political stance. I'm a Christian pro-life person, but I don't believe in living indefinitely. But I want to save the babies, but kill grandma. That's exactly what I see in hypocrisy in the religious world, especially in the born-again Christian world. Anyone that says I'm a pro-life against, the abortion clinics, but they're allowing grandma to die, and they're allowing themselves to die. That's the hypocrisy I deal with. And so I'm done with the hypocrisy. I've seen people that have done the protocol, doing the protocol, that give me their testimony, won't even mention the J juice, but saying how they have now seen the God or seen whatever, and they're promoting CBD oil. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I block them, because you know what? I can't, when you give me a testimony, when you have said that J juice was a major proponent, was a major influence in your life, and it's really got you to this next level from one area to the next area. And then you won't even give it credit, for one. And then number two, you won't even tell your friends about it. I don't even need to have the credit, but you won't even tell your friends about it. You keep it to yourself. That's some selfish shit. But you're going to go and pretend like you got all this awakening, this awareness, because what? Because you believe in God or something? I'm sorry, but I don't buy that hypocrisy. I don't. So yeah, so those that are all about pro-life, but you're allowing grandma to pass away, I'm done with that. But I mean, but it's not even I'm done. It's just that you got to realize that is completely hypocritical. So for people to have their body, mind, and spirit completely aligned, they really have to work for it. And that means that even just changing your belief system, that is the first step. Because if your belief system that people should not live long or should die at some point, then everything that you're saying in our society about life and pro-life and health and wellness is complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And it's hypocritical. And I want to block everybody on my page that's hypocritical, but I can't. What's the point? Right now, everybody in our society is hypocritical. So I have to now, the ones that I'm blocking really are the ones that give me a testimony, but still buy into the discrimination game, calling everything toxic, because that's what this one lady did. She's like, oh yeah, watch out for toxic stuff and go do the CBD oil. And oh, I had an awakening. And what freaking awakening? You got clarity from the J juice, but then now you're going back into the system, and then you're doing the CBD oil, or you're promoting these things to your friends without giving them really an opportunity to see really, or you're not doing the J juice. Yeah, I mean, I see who are in their 60s and 70s, are all retired. I'm retired, right? They're not even changing their look. I don't see any evidence that they're doing the J juice, because if you were really doing the J juice, you would see a difference in your facial structure. You would be going back to in time. You will be looking younger by this point if you're doing the J juice ever since the beginning. You would be going through testimony after testimony. Oh my God, I see a difference in this. I see a difference in that. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, this is so amazing. You guys got to do this. This is what I've been experiencing. No, but I got a lot of looky-loos and blowing smoke up my ass type people, and I just ugh. Hypocrisy pisses me off. Okay, so anyways, the first step to understanding J juice is wrapping your mind around living indefinitely. If that's not possible, then get off my page and stop promoting health and wellness, because that's hypocritical. There is no health and wellness when somebody's actively dying. There really isn't. There is no health and wellness in that. That's chaos and death. And so the whole point of the jade juice is to control the death process, really, to where it's non-existent for those that really truly don't want to die. There's people that do want to die, but they don't really care how they go. Okay? And there's people that don't want to die, but they don't know how to apply the right stuff. And then they're actually listening to me and going, okay, I see where she's going from here. She's been speaking to me for so many years, and finally she's able to articulate it better than, because I've been doing the juice for 3 years. I can articulate better than most people can. Okay? But some of you, are still getting through that process. So it's very hard to articulate what I'm saying until you start getting your body, mind, and spirit. And really, when you get that mental clarity, it becomes very easy to articulate at some point. But I've been given a gift by my husband to be able to have this time to do it. Some of you, yes, have to go and work and deal with 5 or 6 kids and deal with a husband and, who knows, in-laws in your house. Some of you have a very, very busy life. Some of you don't. Some of you are just caught up in the drama of the world, of the activism, of your church, of your pastor, of your whatever, and you get caught up in that, and you're not putting anything really toward yourself because you're caught up in somebody else's drama and then involving yourself in it. When you actually take yourself out of the drama out there in the world and you actually put those minerals and put the nutrients and put all that stuff toward yourself, you will see an actual difference in your behavior, in your looks. When you stop traveling so much, some of you are such travelers. Though I know for your job, okay, I get it. You'll figure it out. But others of you choose to travel. Oh yeah, I'm retired. I'm gonna go travel, which, okay, fine. But when are you healing? Because you really can't do all at once. I mean, you can try, but when you're giving your minerals to new experiences and you're not doing the waterfalls, you're taking in more parasites and viruses, and you're not keeping up with having, 90 or 80% of your body going through the healing process while the other half is still trying to live. Okay, you're never gonna get in front of the 8 ball. You'll always be behind the 8 ball when you put more of everybody else in front of your own healing process. Because that's what it comes down to. It comes down to fractions. If 55% of your life is all about giving your hormones to somebody else and 45 isn't given to yourself, you really think you're gonna have the 8 ball when the universe keeps becoming more aggressive and the viruses are more aggressive and people are more aggressive? I mean, every single day somebody is coming down with some kind of cancer disease and chronic illness, and then guess what, they're communicable and they send it out there in the universe and people pick it up and pass it to each other. And so you're always going to be exposed to stronger messages every single day. And if you can't keep up on it and get your body, mind, and spirit relatively well balanced to be able to handle those messages, you will forever be behind the 8 ball, forever, until you die. But I bet you that person that I took off my Facebook didn't believe in living indefinitely. I can bet you she's like, I'm all about the afterlife. Because if you're all about the afterlife, then don't even do the jade juice. Don't do the jade juice. Don't even get into the health and wellness. Don't even, none of that. Okay? So yeah, so here's the thing. Just do the jade juice. Stay away from the drama. Do what you got to do. Take care of your responsibilities. Do what you got to do. And then let us know how it's going. Okay? We're still in the process of doing the book. The second book, I'm going to be discontinuing this first book. And then you'll see really the thought process. Because yes, peace is either you're dead or you're alive, and war is when you're dying and reproducing. So if you stop dying and you stop reproducing, guess what? You're living in peace. And that is the goal of Jade Juice, is to have all of Earth live in perpetual balance with humanity and vice versa. So we're going down from 7 billion to 500 million. Doesn't seem too far-fetched given the climate. Bye.